Nice Legos, Toby.
Ow, did you?
Can you show me what you built?
I built this.
What did you build, Ben?
This? I built that car over there.
Nice. There have been a lot of Legos built in our house over the last week and a half, which is great. So one of the things I like to do with the kids is have them bring their Legos to the table while I'm listening to something that I want them to absorb. Because a lot of times I'll listen to like books or sermons or podcasts or whatever, and they're not necessarily aimed at kids, but it's good information. And I just let the kids play their Legos while I have something like that playing. You know, I can be cleaning or cooking or something, and I have them play their Legos in the same space. Now, obviously I don't expect them at their ages to be able to sit down and listen to something and retain a ton, but it's really fascinating the stuff that they retain when it's playing while they're working with their hands and staying busy with their hands. It is very cool. And that's something that we've done for a while now, just having like story time on an audiobook or just listening to something while they play. And I love their commentary. They'll pick things up and ask questions about stuff that had I asked them to actually just listen to the podcast, they would have never, you know, they would have glazed over and not listened to it. It's pretty cool. Little sneaky education. Y'all ready to come out?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Do you want to build a snowman?
Yes. Yeah.
Today's the day. It's snowman building day. Alright, well, the sun came out yesterday and it didn't really get above freezing, but it did kind of compact the snow down some, and it's a little easier to get around in. Alright. Look at all those goaties. Good morning. Good morning. You ready to get milked on a girl? Hey, Winona. Oh, good. No babies yet. Winona, her udder is getting massive.
Oh, the baby goat's first snow?
Yeah, this is the baby goat's first snow. That's true.
Mom, what? Dad wanted me to ask you, what boots are you wearing?
Oh, I'm wearing my black boots. Does Asher need them?
I don't know.
So Winona's udder is massive. It has gotten larger every single day. But her ligaments, as of last night, were still very pronounced. So I went to bed confident that she wasn't going to have the babies overnight. I checked her kind of late, like right before we went to sleep. I came out here and checked her. And she just did not seem super, super close. Now, the way that her udder looks, I think she actually has some room for it to get bigger. I'm going to show you. Hold on, Anna. We'll milk in a second. Anna's like, why are you talking to that camera instead of milking me? All right. So, let's see. Still feel ligaments. They are a little softer today than they were last night. Can y'all see that udder? The thing is, her udder is really big, but it's not tight, so I think it can get bigger. The reason I got Winona in the first place, we actually found Winona, and she was in Georgia, and a viewer offered to bring her to us. And the reason I wanted her was because I thought she was really pretty, but also she milks a gallon a day. She's like a really heavy milking doe. So this will be her first time to kid on my farm and my first time to have her in milk. And seeing her udder fill up the way that it is encouraging me that she is going to be what I hope she would be. Maya and I came out here last night and just stood here and watched the little baby goats frolic around the barn, laughing at their goat shenanigans. It was pretty fun. They're so cute. Oh, man. I feel like everything is harder to do when you have a whole bunch of clothes on. My kids just needed me to run inside for something, and it's like takes so much longer than it normally would. So I'm happy to say, so happy to say, immensely thankful to say that it appears we have made it through Snowpocalypse of 2021 with 0 animal casualties. Now, did lose quite a few plants, which is okay because we're at the end of the season anyway. They would have lasted a while longer and I would have been able to eat on them, but it's not as much of a loss if it had happened in like December, November, you know, before before the whole winter was ahead of us and before the ability to replant, which right now I can just replant those places, so it's fine. And I may have lost some perennials. You know, I had dahlias in the ground, which normally I don't have to pull those out. I hope my artichoke perseveres, and maybe even if it dies back, it will regrow. I hope my berries are all fine. But we'll see. I'm not sure if we lost those things yet. Time will tell. But thankfully, we have 0 animal casualties. All the animals fared perfectly fine. There was no reason to worry. The baby goats have been out here jumping around and playing even whenever it was like 5 degrees. So a lot of my concern was completely unwarranted. And the one big thing that I was most concerned about was that Winona was going to have her babies. And we are now through the worst of the cold and the cold nights. We have 2 more days that are fairly cold, with nights that are, you know, pretty well below freezing, but nothing like the last few days have been. So that's a massive relief. Another really great thing is that now that the really cold nights have passed, I can start separating my baby goats. You can, if you're kid sharing, which means you take the goat kids at night, you separate them from their mom so they do not nurse through the night or early in the morning. And you come out fairly early in the morning and you milk, and then you reunite the kids with the does, and they are able to nurse freely all day. But you can't start doing that until they're 2 weeks old. Ours turned 2 weeks at the end of last week, but I obviously did not want to separate them from their moms when it was going to be sub-zero temperatures. But now that we're past that and they are well old enough, I can really get into the full swing of milking, which means I'm about to have enough milk that I can completely stop buying milk from the store and can start making cheese and stuff like that. So I'm super pumped that we are back in that phase of the farm. One benefit of the weather is that I don't have to rush inside to strain the milk, because with goats, at least, I don't know how it is with cows, but I know with goats, you want to get the milk frosted as soon as possible. You don't get it cold, because they say it helps with the flavor. I've always just gotten mine really cold. Oh, that's my dog trying to get out, not a goat. Come on, Bear. And when it's hot outside and I'm milking, I have to run inside real quick. I even bring a cooler out sometimes and put the milk on ice immediately because it can be really warm. But right now, I've just been sticking it in the snow while I run around and do my other chores. The only problem is I forgot it the other day and it froze pretty quickly. But that's why I put it right by the steps, so I would have to walk by it. Oh, hey, Gabriel. Are you enjoying your lovely snow day? Good morning, ladies. Good morning. It feels downright balmy over here. So I was inspecting Dot last night. Her udder's filling up pretty well. Marmee here, I think she's getting some udder as well, and her ligament area feels pretty sunken in. I can't really tell for sure. Beatrice may be bagging up, and Miriam is definitely bagging up. Hey, sweetheart. Hey, girl. Hey, sweetheart. Hello, beautiful. I wasn't sure how many of my Nubians took in breeding, how many settled. Oh, because we were having some issues with our buck. But I'm glad to know that I at least have a few who are very apparently pregnant. I looked at my dates last night of when they were first exposed, and the earliest that they could be due is 15 days from now, which means the earliest they could have babies is about 10 days from now if they took right away, because they can go five days either way from 150 days. So that's fun. Our barn was supposed to be in December. It's finally in. It was supposed to be put up on Monday, and it snowed a foot on Monday, so we still don't have a barn. We still just have the little old barn next door. But I mean, worst comes to worst, she'll get even another last hurrah. The last hurrah will become greater if we start getting Nubians in there as well. so far it's been mostly okay. What do you think, girls? Looking like a bunch of polar goats with their fluffy coats. I don't have food yet. We're getting it. Hey, Marley. Is it gonna start okay?
Probably.
Probably.
I hope so. I said my butt will be cold.
Oh. What's up, Ash?
I'm tired.
Running in snow is hard, huh?
I can't walk too much.
Dramatic?
My legs.
You wiped out, Toby? Oh, golly. What you doing, Ben?
I'm eating.
You're eating snow.
I'm eating a snow cookie.
A snow cookie? What are y'all doing? Jackson, you are covered.
I am a snowman.
These guys are screaming for their breakfast. It's coming. Oh my goodness, in some places the snow is to my knees. What do you think, Bear? All right, let's see what we still got going out here in the high tunnel. Whew, it is very warm in here compared to outside. Wow, it's making my camera fog up. Well, it's definitely perked up some out here. I've still got plenty of harvestable Brussels sprouts that probably are gonna taste so amazing now. I think this dino kale is gonna be fine. It's a little droopy, but I bet it perks back up. I could even prune the bottom parts off and the top will keep growing. Plenty of curly kale, which is still fine and now tastes amazing. Now all these roots are looking pretty rough. However, a lot of times with root vegetables, the tops will die back while the bottoms are fine. So the tops of all of these rutabagas and turnips look pretty rough. They're like laid over, but the roots are probably still completely fine. It's that way with carrots and turnips and rutabagas, beets, radishes. Unless your ground really freezes hard, usually those things will be okay in the ground. So if you had anything in the ground before these hard freezes and you're like, well, now it's dead because the top looks dead, it may be completely edible. Now the problem is if the top dies back a lot and the roots in the ground were very underdeveloped, that plant may have a hard time, or it may take a long time, I should say, because sometimes it'll do it, it just takes a while. It'll have to grow back leaves so it can then convert sunlight to root and continue basically growing the part that you're growing it for. Now in my case, all of these rutabagas and turnips were already really good size. They were pretty large before this, so I can probably still harvest most of this stuff. Some of them may be a little mushy, but I bet there's a lot that can be salvaged. And before you just throw things away, I would encourage you to check and see what you might can salvage. I'm gonna give this water today. I'm gonna give these plants water and let the next few warm days take their course before I declare any of this stuff dead and start tearing it out and feeding it to the animals, because I think some of it will be able to make a recovery. If it is dead, I'm okay with that. I was prepared to let it go. But I'm actually pretty happy to see how much everything has perked up since I came out here yesterday when it was still really, really cold. See, here's an example. These tops are pretty laid over and soft, but like that root right there looks just fine. It's a little soft, but I could probably still take that and maybe pickle it, maybe ferment it. We could probably eat on these for the next couple days. They won't be great for storage, but we can still eat them now. Looks like there's a lot of that. All is not lost. I actually expected this curly kale to hold up a little better. So again, I'm gonna try to water it and see, maybe it'll make a comeback. And this is really funny. Okay, y'all see this rosemary? I put that rosemary in here. Didn't make any sense. I was like, why would you do that? Rosemary's perennial here outside. There's no reason to plant any in a high tunnel. And I just wanted it in here because Rosemary that's kept under cover stays softer, whereas when it's outside and it has to protect itself against the weather, it gets woodier. And I thought it would be nice to have some soft rosemary in the high tunnel, so I'm just gonna plant it out here. It'll just be a pretty thing right here in the inside to have a big bush once it gets really big. And I just thought of it whenever I had several people message me and they're like, yeah, your rosemary's probably not gonna pull through. It can't live through temperatures that cold. And I thought, oh man, I'm not gonna have any rosemary. I love rosemary, it's one of my favorite herbs to use. And I thought, oh, the high tunnel rosemary. And it looks just fine. Little damaged around the edges, but that plant will pull through and I still have rosemary. These cabbages are completely okay. My leeks that I put in here still look really good. We'll see what happens over here. Those are Brussels sprouts and they're laid out pretty bad, but I bet they perk up. They're young enough that they can still put off new growth. Well, I have to say this could have definitely been a lot worse. I'm thankful for how well we fared. We didn't lose power. We had one plumbing issue where the drain off of our washing machine froze in the wall, and it didn't break, but it did cause a bunch of water to back up into our laundry room. So that was inconvenient, but nothing was like severely damaged. None of my animals died. I'm so glad. And it looks like my plants even fared better than I thought they had. So from here on out, the temperatures are going up. The sun is out. We're supposed to get a little above freezing today, more above freezing tomorrow. And though this has been a massive ordeal, and I'm definitely continuing to pray for those of you in more southern places than us, I am extremely thankful to be on the other side of it. I don't think I've ever had such a stressful situation in homesteading, with having the drafty barn, having goats do, having baby animals. And I can't imagine how hard it was for people who had a lot more to lose and less preparation than us. So thankful that we're through it, continuing to pray for those who are still dealing with the aftermath. And now more than ever, I can say I am so glad that it's almost spring. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I bless you. Until next time.